This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Friday, the 4th day of April in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The Guyana Power and Light Company today signed off on 3 contracts totaling more than $422 million for the construction of transmission lines and 5 new substations to support the government's flagship gas-to-energy project. The acting chief executive officer at GPL, Kesh Nandlal, signed off on the contracts on behalf of GPL. The signing represents the single largest investment by the power company. The multi-billion-dollar project will be executed in 3 parts, with lots 1 and 3 awarded to Power China to the tune of $256.7 million and lot 2 awarded to Kalpatura to the tune of $156.5 million. Prime Minister Mark Phillips, who along with the minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, witnessed the signing of the contracts, said the construction of the transmission lines and the substations is key to the gas-to-energy project.
Today we are talking about transmission, and transmission is the backbone. If you don't have a proper backbone, the whole system will not work. We're producing all this power, we have to evacuate it safely and in a stable manner and deliver it to where it is needed. This is a transformative project in the sense that we're not just repairing what is already there. We're building a brand new transmission system that is modern, that is state-of-the-art, that is comparable in any part of the world. Any such construction that is going on today, what we're doing from this contract is comparable with what is the latest in terms of transmission technology. That is what we're doing for Guyana.
The Prime Minister also said the transformational project is critical to fulfilling the government's commitment to bring down the cost of electricity by 50% with the completion of the gas-to-energy project this year. Minister Deodat Indar said the project, which includes the construction of 155 kilometers of 230 double-circuit transmission lines and 167 kilometers of 69 kV double-circuit transmission lines, will help to improve the energy infrastructure of the country.
This signing today is part of the design to improve the energy infrastructure. What it means is that the plant that is being constructed at Wales, the power have to move from Wales into the rest of the country. One part of that power will come from Wales over the Demerara River, the Garden of Eden, into the backlands, and it will terminate at a location behind Eccles. They call it Good for Wapti.
The project will also see a substation at Kingston being upgraded. The Prime Minister and the Minister within the Ministry of Public Works told the contractors that it was important for the project to be completed within the 1-year time frame. Through the gas-to-energy project, the government is aiming to provide an additional 300 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. On completion of the first phase of the project, and another 300 megawatts during the second phase. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Good catch! Yes! Our own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Keeping up with the kids' growth spurts might mean it's time for a bigger fridge. Don't worry, at Quartz, we've got you. Save up to $50,000 on select fridges. Get a free grill or mixer with select stoves and more. Need to upgrade your home? Get smart TVs from as low as $32,999. Plus, shop today and pay later. And make your first payment in 30 days with Quartz Ready Finance. Whatever you need, we've got you. Only at Quartz, bringing value home. Offer ends April 23, 2025.
The family of Fireman Vishan Manbu, who passed away at the Georgetown Hospital 2 weeks ago while nursing injuries sustained in the May school fire, is moving to the court over his death. The family is dissatisfied with the outcome of an investigation that was conducted into his care and treatment at the Georgetown Hospital leading up to his death, and they are still looking for answers tonight. After initially stating that the investigation has found systemic errors in the care and treatment of the fireman, the Georgetown Hospital later declared that there was no medical negligence or wrongdoing by its staff. In a statement yesterday, the family of the late fireman said the Georgetown Hospital's statement on the fireman's death while in their care and their subsequent investigation reeks of bureaucratic detachment, masked in clinical language with accountability being buried. They are demanding to be made aware of the systemic errors that the hospital first mentioned in relation to the findings of the probe into the fireman's death. The family wants to know, how does the Georgetown Hospital reconcile the existence of systemic errors admitted by their own medical director with the conclusion of no negligence or wrongdoing? They said systemic failures that contribute to death are not benign oversights, and they are actionable, remediable, and in just society, accountable. They said the contradiction alone renders the entire press statement from the hospital disingenuous and misleading. The family has taken particular umbrage to a statement from the hospital that the fireman's death was not only as a result of his injuries, but also to an alleged underlying chronic disease. According to the family, there is no documented medical history of any chronic illness in Vishan Manbu's records prior to his admission at the Georgetown Hospital, and they would like to know when any such diagnosis was made. They believe the statement by the hospital is aimed at mitigating liability. The family also said it is deeply troubling and unacceptable that the Georgetown Public Hospital would publicly release conclusions of an autopsy done on the fireman in the absence of a finalized medical certificate of cause of death or any legally binding documentation. They said the preliminary report issued by the state pathologist and recorded on the death registration form is not a legal death certificate, and therefore it holds no conclusive legal standing and is contrary to what the family have strong reasons to believe. They said the disclosure is more than improper and represents a clear breach of Guyana's own medical ethics framework, namely the Code of Ethics Regulations 2008 under the Medical Practitioners Act, Chapter 3202. The Code of Ethics Regulation states that every medical practitioner has an obligation to keep information about a patient confidential, even after the death of that patient. Additionally, it notes that in the event of a patient's incapacity, the information may only be divulged with the consent of the spouse, parent, or responsible close relative. The family of the fireman said no such consent was given, and there was no communication with the family before the information was released. According to the family, despite the hospital's stated commitment to openness, the family has never received the investigative report, and family members were left to read details of the investigations and their loved one's death in the local media. They said they were not briefed on the report, not consulted on it, or even informed of the findings. The family of the late fireman said his death reflects a broken and unacceptable system, shielded by language, bureaucracy, and carefully crafted denials, and they believe that his death was preventable and could have been prevented had he been provided with the proper care for the injuries he sustained while in the line of duty for the Guyana Fire Service. They want the Georgetown Hospital to accept full responsibility and intends to challenge the hospital in court and hold it accountable and responsible for the young man's death. The family of Fireman Manbo have voiced their concern about him not being provided with critical care from the time he was admitted to the hospital. They have reported that scans were not done for days, even as he cried out for multiple internal injuries. When he fell from a bed at the hospital, which they believe compounded his injuries, they said they were not informed about that incident, and it was another patient who made the information known to them. The fireman was admitted to the Georgetown Hospital with serious head and other injuries after a section of a wall and part of a roof collapsed on him while battling the blaze that cut to the May School fire. He passed away in the hospital days after being admitted. The family is calling for the public support as they launch their legal fight. A GoFundMe page has been set up to assist with covering the legal costs. The acting Chief Justice Roxanne George today said the country's electoral laws are all over the place, hinting at the need for further amendments to correct the troubling issues. She said the electoral laws are all over and it's very hard to manage and to navigate the laws. The acting Chief Justice made that observation shortly after she delivered her ruling in the High Court case brought by PNC Reform Chief Scrutineer Carol Smith Joseph. She ruled that verification of residency is not a requirement for inclusion in the National Register of Registrants and by extension the official list of electors. She said if someone who is Guyanese but lives overseas comes to register, that person cannot be prevented from doing so as a citizen of the country. She said they would of course have to return to Guyana to vote that accords with the address with which they registered. That would be their address claimed. She said the fact that they do not live in the country on a continuous basis does not permit their names to be removed from the voters list unless it is proven that they are deceased or otherwise disqualified, and the provisions for removal of their name are allowed. The acting Chief Justice said she agrees with the counsel for the Guyana Elections Commission, Kurt De Silva, that an anomaly arises when treating with regional elections in such a case. She said as an officer of the court, the attorney was correct to highlight it for the court's consideration. Justice George said, however, that it is not for the court to address the anomaly, but rather for the Parliament. While relying heavily on Article 73 of the Constitution, which states that members of the Regional Democratic Council shall be elected by persons residing in the region, De Silva had argued that because of the amendments made to the National Registration Act in 2022, it would be necessary for there to be separate lists of electors for the general and regional elections, as well as the need for ballots for both elections to be printed separately. But the acting Chief Justice in her ruling said the creation of separate lists would result in administrative difficulties. Under Article 159 of the Constitution, residency is not a requirement inclusion in the list. Under Article 159(1) of the Constitution, residency is not a requirement for inclusion in the list and or to vote in the case of Guyanese who are 18 years and older. However, the acting Chief Justice said it is unclear whether legislators included in the electoral laws the need for addresses to be verified, where the residency is no longer a requirement. Well, the General Secretary of the Guyana Trades Union Congress, Lincoln Lewis, believes Labour Minister Joseph Hamilton has demonstrated a misunderstanding of his role or arrogance that is common among some politicians with his recent statements about Guyanese workers. During a recent community meeting in Haslington on the east coast of the Marara, the Labour Minister warned of the possibility of migrant workers flooding the local labour market. He said the day is quickly coming and highlighted complaints from companies about the behavior of Guyanese workers. Lewis said the Labour Minister must know that Guyanese workers must be put first.
To suggest that the government will prioritize foreign workers over Guyanese citizens is a failure on his part and the government. The people he refers to are citizens who, despite challenges, deserves a government committed to improving their lives, not abandoning them at any point.
In clarifying his statement, the minister said through the observance of labor and immigration laws, Guyana maintains fairness in employment, fosters economic stability, and safeguards the rights and dignity of both workers and the employers. He said employment of undocumented individuals is not simply an infraction, as it represents a deviation from the principles of accountability, justice, and due process that form the bedrock of the country's developmental agenda. The GTUC General Secretary said Minister Hamilton's initial remarks imply a failure to create systems for job creation and fair wages.
The issue is not that the people refuse to work, but that the wages are insufficient. How can a minister expect workers to live on $60,000 a month while he earns $500,000? It is time for the minister to reconsider his stance on workers as their tax dollars pay the salary, yet he chooses to blame them without addressing the root cause of their dissatisfaction.
He said Guyanese workers deserve better. The GTUC General Secretary also said even as the country observes Occupational Safety and Health Month, many workers are working without basic protective gear, such as safety boots, safety helmets, and goggles. He said the problem could be seen daily, even with government contractors. The trade union leaders said the Labour Minister should focus more of his attention in that area rather than attempting to make excuses for the hiring of undocumented foreign workers.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Need small appliance for your kitchen? Giftland have it. Need fridge or stove? Giftland have it. Speakers or laptop? Giftland have it. I'm telling you, Giftland have everything. And don't get me started on TVs. 58-inch, 65-inch, 70-inch, 75-inch. All sizes in leading brands. Best thing about it, they give a warranty. Man, Giftland is the place for all your electronics purchases.
Washi. Hi people, washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washi me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright, have me clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
Buster presenting the new 500 milliliter. Wow, Buster flavorful. Make every meal better. Grab a Buster for drink, Buster move. Taste this. 500 ml, that's it. Buster for days, that's cool. Buster 500 milliliter is a brand new choice of me drink with my food. Vibing every munch, that's smooth. Introducing the new Buster 500 milliliter. Grab a bottle with your lunch today.
Lateness and absenteeism are among the reasons given by Teleperformance for closing down one of its operations here in Guyana. That's according to Vice President Barrett Jagdeo. Teleperformance, which is one of the largest call center companies in the country, recently closed its Rob and Cam Street location here in Georgetown. The company laid off more than 800 workers over the past 6 months as it faced a number of clients withdrawing their business. However, at a press conference yesterday, Vice President Jagdeo said the minister responsible for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, is expected to meet with Teleperformance and other companies in the business process outsourcing sector to have a deeper understanding of the challenges confronting them. He said a preliminary report from the company suggests that lateness and absenteeism were among the reasons given for its decision to close the operation at Rob and Cam Streets.
So I asked Ashley Singh, what are you being told? And he said that they have spoken about absenteeism, the lack of punctuality, and a couple of cases of fraud, but mainly absenteeism and lack of punctuality. And you know, they operate in a very competitive sector. So you have clients abroad. So if nobody is there, they can't keep the quality of the service up.
Mr. Jagdeo said it would appear that persons were seeking employment in other industries and sectors. At least 5 of Teleperformance's major clients ended their contracts with the company since August of last year. With the loss of those contracts, the employees who were attached to those clients were laid off. In total, between August 2024 and February of this year, the company laid off more than 800 of its staff members. The vice president said a meeting with the finance minister and the BPO companies would help the government to better understand not only the challenges confronting those companies, but the number of workers likely to be affected.
And for those who genuinely are affected and want to work, we would engage them, the Guyanese, because we believe that the economy is kicking to such an extent that we can easily find alternate employment for people who may be affected in this area. So we are addressing this issue too, because it is of anything that affects our people, well ultimately we have an obligation to address.
The call center business in Guyana has been slowing over the past year. Last year, another major provider in the industry, ITEL, completely shut down its Guyana operations. More than 400 workers were laid off by that company. ITEL said the cost of doing business in Guyana has been rising significantly, and it could no longer keep up. On the police blotter, 2 Brazilian nationals, a Cuban national, and a Guyanese were arrested on Thursday as part of a major probe into a gold smuggling operation. In a statement last evening, the Special Organized Crime Unit said the 4 were arrested as SOCO agents successfully intercepted an alleged gold smuggling attempt in an intelligence-led operation. SOCO did not indicate where the operation took place, but said that based on credible intelligence, the operation was launched and the 4 were arrested with a large quantity of gold valued at over $30 million and over 31 million Guyana dollars in cash. The investigating officers also confiscated a quantity of electronic equipment. SOCO said it sees the bust as a significant breakthrough in the fight against illegal gold smuggling. According to the head of SOCO, Deputy Commissioner Fazil Karambashk, the SOCO officers were able to disrupt the smuggling operation before the gold could be moved. He warned gold smugglers to stop the illegal activity or face the full force of the law. The latest crackdown follows a similar enforcement action early in March in Letem in Region 9, where 2 persons were arrested. Investigations are continuing in the matter as charges are being prepared. In the courts, a 23-year-old unemployed man from Ben Street in Wortmanville was charged and granted bail today in the sum of $2.4 million on 25 counts of simple larceny and 23 counts of conspiracy to commit computer-related fraud. The charges are in relation to the theft of over $36.4 million from the joint account of a couple. The accused Shemaiah Ryan, also known as Banker, pleaded not guilty to all of those charges. According to a report from the police, Ryan conspired with persons to make a national identification card in the name of Carl Peterkin, using all of the man's information. He then presented himself to a Citibank as the Carl Peterkin, who has an account at the bank. The victim, who has a joint account with his wife at the bank, was never the holder of an ATM card. The accused was reportedly in possession of that information, and while posing as the victim with an ID card in the man's name, he requested an ATM card from the bank in the man's name, and it was granted. The police report said the accused later contacted a mother and daughter who were known to him and requested that they allow him to transfer money to their accounts so that they could withdraw it on his behalf, as he claimed he was on a government contract and could not find time to visit the bank to withdraw the money to pay his workers. The two women agreed, and between the 2nd of September 2022 and the 19th of September 2022, the man transferred a total of $17,997,000 from the account of the Peterkins into the account of one of the women via internet banking. He later transferred an additional $13,618,000 from the joint account to the other woman's account. He reportedly collected the money from the two women. The police also reported on 27 occasions the man used the ATM card in the name of Carl Peterkin to withdraw over $4.8 million from the joint account of the Peterkins at different ATMs. All of this took place back in 2022. He was arrested recently after a wanted bulletin was issued for him in connection with another fraud matter. The accused is expected back in court in the month of May. Across the Region is coming up next.
Yeah, you already know it's your truly Nani Katoy, the queen of zest. If you take people, man, clap your hand. If you take people, man, clap your hand.
Wait, Bobby?
Hi, Granny.
You know the Nelly song?
How you mean? Plus, she coming for a creek explosion Sunday, April 20th.
Creek explosion? Which creek? And is who bringing she?
The creek by Splash Main, Aziza Akusa, and his Team Extra bringing she.
Team Extra? Let me call Freddie.
Hello, Granny.
Hi, bye.
What going on?
You bringing Nelly Katoy and you didn't even put me on the show? Like you was a kunumunu or what?
Don't say fat, you're booking you now.
Galang, Granny.
Let me see the flyer. Oh, female dancing competition over 160,000 given away. Plus male dance off for one motorbike.
Music by Bobby Kush, DJ Magnum, DJ Garwin, David Hype, and Papa Feelings.
Are you giddy up and get your early bird tickets for $2,000 at Team Extra Starbrook Market, Just Your Size Boutique, White Castle Fish Shop, and Fireside Sweets. Freak Explosion, compliments of Fireside and Team Extra.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Oil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Oil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Oil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall in the region. A 15-year-old girl and a 28-year-old taxi operator have been charged with the murder of a man along Swansea Avenue in St. Andrew, Jamaica on March 24. Jamaica Gleaner in a report said the taxi operator, Naniko Williamson, and the schoolgirl are both of Whitehall Avenue in St. Andrew. They are jointly charged with murder, conspiracy to murder, possession of prohibited weapon, and unauthorized possession of ammunition, following the shooting death of 25-year-old Kenardo Thompson of Bond Street, Kingston. It is alleged that the teen girl was involved in an intimate relationship with Williamson and Thompson and orchestrated the plan to kill Thompson. The Constant Spring police say at about 11 a.m., she lured Thompson to Swansea Avenue, and while he was walking along the roadway, Williamson, along with two men traveling in an orange vehicle, drove up. They reportedly held Thompson and shot him several times before fleeing the scene. The police were alerted, and on their arrival, they observed the vehicle speeding away. They managed to intercept the vehicle and apprehended Williamson as he attempted to escape over a wall. The police say following a series of investigative leads, the teenager was apprehended by the police on Tuesday. Sweeping U.S. tariffs could prove relatively advantageous for Brazil, Latin America's largest economy, despite President Donald Trump's move to impose a 10% levy on its exports to the United States, economists said on Thursday. According to Reuters, local markets reacted positively to the highly anticipated announcement on Wednesday, with the Brazilian real strengthening past 5 per U.S. dollar and reaching its highest level since October 2024. Meanwhile, the benchmark stock index edged up 0.23%, with many pointing out that Brazil's comparatively lighter tariff burden could shield it from major trade risks, while also attracting capital flows, shifting away from the United States. And finally tonight, international news. China announced additional tariffs of 34% on U.S. goods on Friday, the most serious escalation in a trade war with President Donald Trump that has fed fears of a recession, according to Reuters. In the standoff between the world's top two economies, Beijing also announced controls on exports of medium and heavy rare earths. It also added 11 entities to the unreliable entity list, which allows Beijing to take punitive actions against foreign entities. Nations from Canada to China have readied retaliation in a mounting trade war after Trump raised U.S. tariff barriers to their highest level in more than a century this week, leading to a plunge in world financial markets. The White House was not immediately available for a comment. In Japan, one of the United States' top trading partners, the Prime Minister said that the tariffs had created a national crisis, as a plunge in banking shares on Friday set Tokyo's stock market on a course for its worst week in years. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant weekend.